The search engine algorithm. It's probably the most discussed element of search engine optimization. If only people knew what the search engines actually did to list your site against somebody else's. So how do we do SEO, search engine optimization, if we don't know the detail of the algorithm? Well, through research we've got some really good clues. And in this section I want to talk to you about what will work now and what will work in the future. So the search engine algorithm is based on page factors and off-page factors. And there's two later sections within this module that will describe them in more detail. But what I want to give you now is an overview. So the search engine is looking at your website and factors relating to your website in a mathematical way. So all of your great graphics will not impress a search engine. All of the fancy functionality will do you no good to get to the top of your favorite search engine. However, what will work is that search engine finding mathematically the things that it wants to find in relation to posting you or a competitor or somebody you don't know about right at the top of page 1. What this mathematical algorithm is trying to do is work out your relevance and your authority. So just think about those two words for a second. First of all, your relevance. So when somebody searches for blue duffel coat, it'd be no good if Google was to supply them with a website that talked about blue whales. It needs to be absolutely relevant results, because remember how the search engines make their money from the paid listings only because people use them for the natural listings and the relevancy that come back. So Google has to make sure that your page is absolutely relevant to the key phrase that somebody is searching for. To make sure that you are relevant, then what the search engine will do is it will have a look through all of the text of your page. So it's looking now at the code and it's stripping out certain elements and saying, is this website relevant? And in order to do that, it looks at the key phrases that you've placed on certain parts of the page, and we will discuss that in the next module of the on page, but it's looking at that as to how it compares with the rest of your page and the rest of your site. Is there a theme building here? But of course the search engine doesn't want you to con the system. So it's also looking for, have these people tried too hard? And that's something that's definitely improved over the years, and certainly more recently, where the search engines have become very clever and they're trying to fish out the people who are trying to con the system. So what you've got to do is be very natural, but make sure that your content is definitely about the key phrase that you want to appear on the search engines for. The next thing that we talk about is authority. So the search engines are looking at, well, who links to this particular website? Because of course what the search engine wants to do is let the millions of users of the internet start voting for pages and telling the search engines what they believe to be good value content. So as you start to build up links from other people linking to your website because you've got some really great content, then the search engines start to elevate your position within the rankings. So quite simply, imagine all of the links around the web pointing to you, acting like a massive voting system. And in fact, those websites out there that have got more authority themselves, they do actually cast more of a vote for your website. So what we do, and we'll talk about this in a later section of off-page optimization, is we're looking for sites with authority to link to our website. But remember, those websites must be relevant, because what we're looking for here is relevance and authority. And social signals have become so much a part of that these days. So we're looking for social media websites that have links back to your site. And what the algorithm does, and it changes all of the time, and nobody actually has the true answer. We all just have research about what we believe is happening. But what it's doing is it's weighing up lots of factors on your page, off your page, to work out whether you should be number one, whether you are the website with the most relevance and the most authority. What I encourage people to do is to not focus on what the search engine algorithm is today. You see, doing search engine optimization on page or off page is about putting a bigger tick in every box that a search engine might look at than what your competition has got. And if your tick is bigger in every box, as the algorithm changes to give more weighting and more importance to a different area of that algorithm, as long as your tick is bigger, you'll still remain on top. Now, what I want you to do is have a look at the exercise here and start to build up how you can look at relevance and authority for your own website pages.